In Brown's Disability is a Social Construct, she starts off by saying we are not identical and we each have our own individual strengths and weaknesses. And that just made me instantly think that we're all human, so everyone has strengths and weaknesses. I have my own struggles, I have things that I thrive at, but I don't thrive at everything. There's going to be times where I feel like I'm having a difficult time and I'm going to need some extra assistance. And so she does talk about that some people may need more help in one area than others, but everyone has things that they thrive at too. So it just because you're someone with autism isn't the only person that might need extra help with something. And I think that's kind of mostly what I took away with parts of her article, and it's that some people, for example, might need help. They might need a tutor, they might need help with their math, or they might need financial assistance, or maybe want to see a therapist, might need help with their emotions, anything, but everyone has their own things that they need help with. And so I know in my classroom, I want to do my best to make sure everyone feels as though they're equal and that they belong, because I feel like so many times people who do need extra help with anything are pushed aside and kind of just left to struggle by themselves, and that's going to kind of relate to what I say later about Crip Camp. But it's just important to, I feel like, acknowledge, and as a future educator, to acknowledge my students' weaknesses and strengths, because lots of times some students might have the same strengths, they might have the same weaknesses, or they might be totally unique to that individual person, and it's just going to be my job to acknowledge that and be aware of it, so I know, and if I am teaching this one thing, I can keep my eye out for that one student who I know might struggle with addition, or maybe we're talking about a difficult topic, and I might know that they've dealt with a lot of loss, so I'm going to help them. And I think it's just about knowing your students individually and knowing how to help them, because you never want to push a student aside, or there's even in your community, you don't want to brush anyone aside. You want everyone to feel that they are welcome, that they belong there. Especially in my classroom, I want just everyone to feel that sense of belonging, that we are family and we're unified. And so now bringing that down to Crip Camp, Jimmy says, I had to fit into a world that wasn't built for me. And I spoke about this last class, but I interpret it as though the world was not made accessible to him, so he was left to struggle, and the world was just watching him struggle. And there has been changes and has been improvements, but so much of the world right now, there are difficulties, and that those difficulties so many different people face. And so just as a future educator, it's going to be my duty to make sure each student feels as though that they do belong and that we are equal and we're all meant to be in that classroom. They're all my students, we are that family. And so kind of relating back to what Brown says, that we're not identical and we all have our own strengths and weaknesses, and that's just part of being human. So everyone's going to have their own things that they're going to be forced to deal with. And once again, relating that to me being an educator, it's going to be my job to also just be aware of that and to make sure that no one ever feels that they're being separated because of that. And so just to end, I'm going to bring up this quote that I feel like so many people do speak about, but just no one should ever feel like a guest in their home. And so in that sense, the home being the world, and everyone should feel that they belong in the world, because even if you have a loss of hearing or you might use a wheelchair, you don't belong in the world any less or more than someone else. We all should be equal, and we all were brought to this world for a reason, so.